All right, it is 6 o'clock. It's Monday, August 1st. We'll call this meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have the roll call.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
All right, do we have an approval for tonight's agenda? A motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Hollister,
Second.
seconded by Simonson. If there's no discussion, take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Okay, doesn't look like we have anybody here for the public participation, so we'll move into our consent agenda, which is the minutes from our July 18th, 2022 regular city council meeting. Bills payable through August 1st, 2022 in the amount of $711,652.82. The renewal of a Class B beer permit, outdoor sales, Sunday sales, and living quarters filed by Maquoketa Brewing. A new Class C liquor license, outdoor sales and Sunday sales filed by the Copper Cardinal. Council appointment of Gerald Beau to the Parks Commission. Solid waste hauler application filed by R&R Sanitation LLC. And accept a resignation from the zoning board submitted by Gerald Beau. And authorization of reimbursement and payment to Ann Lenth for the Downtown Incentives Grant Program in the amount of $7,878.78.
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion by Coolman,
Second.
seconded by Good. If there's no discussion, then take the roll.
Lyon,
Abstain.
Hollister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes. Okay, that passes. We have no old business, so we move into new business. And item A is an ordinance amending Title V Land Use Regulations, Chapter 1 Zoning Regulations, Subchapter B District Boundaries and General Regulations of the City of Maquoketa Code of Ordinances, and this is the first reading.
Yeah, good evening, council. This follows up on the previous two meetings where we allowed B2 to have towers included and doing it the right way for the company that's going to be helping out Jackson County and Maquoketa Police Department. So this enters kind of the second half of that process and changing the police department from residential 2 to business 2, which only makes sense for the obvious reasons and for the tower eventually. So we ask for your support.
Do we have a motion?
So. Second.
Okay, motion by Lyon, seconded by Holm. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Hollister,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, do you want me to suspend it? Do you want them suspended? Is this in a hurry?
No, it's normal, there's no extreme rush in this, but I like the way we did the last time where we did the second and third. I mean, I get where you're going, but I think it's nice to have the citizens back if they do want to talk about this issue.
Okay. Item B is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding to amend the 2022-2025 Maquoketa Public Safety Association contract.
Yes, thank you. And this was before the Finance and Personnel Committee on July 11th. This pertained to the police department, excluding Brendan as a department head, but we'll discuss other things later. Where we're at with this is making the police department more competitive to become a destination department and focusing on that police contract to make sure that we kept our employees happy and we become known as a fair, a just, and attractive employer. We do have the resources to accomplish this objective, And I think part of the discussion at the Finance and Personnel Committee entirely centered around the police department, but at City Hall, we mostly do our payroll processing and all of their wage scales and pay scales follow the police contract. So there was a misinterpretation on our part to really kind of nail this down to staff level as well in other areas of the city. So there enters a little bit of another complex question, whether we punt back and go back to finance and personnel, or we push forward and we can treat this meeting a little bit more as a finance-based meeting, and I can explain that that's the direction we were heading anyway. So I'd like to go over some financial information with you as we move forward in this piece of the agenda. The small sheet you have with you in your desk looks like this one here. That is pre-audited figures for the general fund. As I've stated before, it's really kind of normal practice or an objective for most cities to have 25% in a reserve balance, and that's what we have and more in the form of 1.454 million sitting in our general fund. And it's not our job to be a profitable agency. We have to get that moving. We have to retain employees. We have to use it appropriately in order to spur growth in the city and keep and attract quality employees. The second piece of paper you have is a bigger vision for the road use tax fund. And what we have done in that large chart that seems very colorful is we've outlined a plan to spend over 10 years, once our street improvement plan comes back, to spend about $5.1 million of local resources over the course of 10 years on local streets. That doesn't include any infrastructure spending or any, grants that might happen like a Platt Street in the future. It's just showing an example here of where we can go. A lot of other cities qualify some personnel costs of their public works department against the road use tax fund. So your snow plowing, your street maintenance, your street construction, your curb, everything else involved with that. They break out into road use tax for the street finance reports authorized by the state. For whatever reason, we don't do it here. I've been shown some pretty intricate examples of how that works, and I'm proposing a step forward for us all to take and make sure that we're using the general fund and road use tax how we can best use them. So the 6%, the adjustments that are coming forward for your consideration, this is mostly built into the road use tax fund adjustment and making sure that the general fund's put in a positive position as well for the future. I did have to do some thinking today on if there might be any questions, and I'm sure there certainly are about this entire topic. But the general fund you see has local option sales tax going over to the wastewater side, and you know as well as anyone that Ashley Hinson, their $3.5 million award, that's going to help push a little bit of that local option sales tax requirement down the road for us so we won't have to transfer as much out potentially. So there's another variable out there that helps with this general fund. So do I feel comfortable over this 6%? Yes, I do, and I do recommend it. That wasn't the only part of what we discussed at the Finance and Personnel Committee and ultimately with the union. Once you reach 5 or 6 years here, once you've hit the top of the pay scale, we don't have any retention bonus. There's other places that are doing this in different forms. You see the table on the third page that outlines just a small benefit for someone in their continued service at the city of Maquoketa. This is proposed for the police department and trying to make sure that we're distinguishing the police departments and trying to make their contract just a bit more beneficial for them. We're recognizing those employees that have a specialized skill, have been around and kind of know the lay of the land. I think it's kind of critical, for those folks and those sergeants, for example. I'm thinking of Sergeant Rissinger. I think he was the one during the Tyson's burglary, correct? I mean, it's a guy that was able to lead 2 other young officers from that very moment, that burglary happened. They were protecting the scene. They were preserving evidence. They knew exactly what to do. And you don't get that type of experience but just by having 3 or 4 years on. So I think it's important to make sure that we have that type of veteran in mind because they're important to keep. And last in this proposal is giving Chief the discretion to recommend to me if he has an experienced candidate come in, giving them the ability to say, okay, you have 8 years on, maybe we'll start you on step 3 or 4 of 5. And making sure that we have that ability to attract people with experience here that can hit the street immediately and be a quality employee. Chief would tell you, and I know that it probably takes a few years for a brand-new police officer to really become talented. So, you know, anytime that we can pick up employees that want to transfer to Maquoketa and raise a family here in Maquoketa, I think we should try it, and this tool will give Chief Zimet an ability to do so. This moment, I know I've kind of gone over a lot and probably been all over the board, but there's a lot of math in front of you right now. I'll take any questions you might have.
Anybody have anything for Josh?
Now, you say we do have the finances to support this with the 25% that you mentioned in the beginning of your speech there.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve, but I want to extend the longevity through the whole system, not just through the police. Well, I talked to Josh this morning. I left the meeting a little, I guess I didn't leave it confused. I took the end of the meeting differently than Josh did. I didn't think this was gonna go across the board. I thought it was gonna stay at PD, and then we would look at other departments, starting to move more independent from the police contract always swaying how the city's gonna operate the rest. But I think if you're gonna move this 6% across the board, then you do the longevity. It's about a $10,000 increase. But I think for morale, it makes more sense to spend the $10,000 on our employees.
Like what other employees does that cover?
So anything that's not out, well, all your hourly, so anything but department heads essentially.
Okay, so you're talking like department heads, like
Public Works,
what about the girls in the office?
that's, yeah, so everybody but like Josh, Chief, Chief Caranda, I guess it's not his name anymore, but
Like Public Works employees,
yeah.
all those guys? Okay.
It's like 6 guys, I think, or 6 people ultimately outside of the PD. The PD has 6 or 8 of their own that qualify for longevity, and then the rest of the departments only have 5 or 6 that qualify. So
I see.
I told them if it were me and I was the city manager and I was looking at morale and trying to keep a lid on things, we would go, Kelly Brown would come in here and ask for 10 grand and we'd hand it out. Not even thinking about it. So I said, why wouldn't we just follow through and figure out down the road how we're gonna handle this pay structure? So it adds about 10,000 to this, which we still cover. We're running a deficit, I think, of 20 grand. It'll push it to like 30. But some of that's gonna change here with the 3.5 million and the road use moving down, so. My proposal is I'll make the motion to approve this with the 6% across the board and longevity.
Second.
Who seconded it? Mark. Mark, okay. All right, we've got a motion by Colister, seconded by Lyon, to extend this 6% across the board. Do we have any discussion on this? If not, take the roll.
Coleman,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item 9 is reports and communications. Do we have anything from any of the city council members?
I've gotten 2, I know the golf carts are dead, but I have had 2 people come to my face and tell me they weren't in favor of it, so.
I received an email also not in favor of it.
Okay.
Yeah, Dina, I was scared that we were bringing chickens back up. I was happy to see,
I did hear from her as well.
yeah, that it wasn't chickens, so.
All right, city manager?
Well, just, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but on Friday, Frank and I released to 5 engineering firms this street improvement plan analysis. So those names are HR Green, Fair Graham, Origin, WHKS, and McClure Engineering out of Cedar Rapids, who does our airport stuff. So expecting that back in a month and a half, 2 months for offers, and a final product for your consideration in February of 2023. And that'll guide the street spending for the next 9-10 years and give you a good plan.
Okay. We have,
I'm sorry, Mayor.
We got more?
And this one's maybe just as important given the circumstances of the last 2 weeks around here. Mayor Meserly and I are running out to Cedar Falls tomorrow to offer our condolences on behalf of the city to the Schmidt family in Cedar Falls for the victims of the Maquoketa Caves shooting. So there's a boy survivor there that can't imagine what that's like. So it'd be nice to get out there and just, at least, offer our support to them. That's it now.
that's it, okay. All right, we have nothing for an executive session. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Recording.